Glenn, welcome. So as a piece of discretionary, travel experiences seem to be holding up, but for how long do you think?
Well, hard to say, and thanks for having me. I hear about, is it going to slow down? Is it not? We've had such great numbers in travel coming out of pandemic. What's going to happen? And I always tell people, please stop looking short term. Stop asking me what's going to happen next week or next quarter. Think long term. And long term, travel is a strong growth industry, has been for a very long time, and is going to continue to be.
I don't know how to think about travel long term when 2 years ago people were trying to convince me that the metaverse was the next big thing, that we'd just be traveling with something on our faces and not actually physically going anywhere. And now AI is on the scene. Maybe that's going to make the booking process for more complex trips actually simpler and get people traveling more. What do you say to the technology angle here?
Well, absolutely. Look, AI is a fantastic tool for travel. Travel is so complex. It's so frustrating. And even now, with the advancements that we've done over the last, let's say, 20 years of technology, and you know how different it was 20 years ago. You had to carry around a paper ticket and such, and you didn't have a mobile phone to fix it. Even with all the improvements that we've had to date, there's still so much more that can be done, and we're doing it. Booking.com, we have an AI trip planner that will help do your itinerary. Priceline, we've got a thing called Penny that's doing a great job of helping people plan their trips and help them if something goes wrong. So absolutely a lot of opportunity for us, and I'm glad that we have the scale and the AI capabilities to take advantage of this.
So, Glenn, I want to go back to the travel picture longer term, because we did see basically no travel during the pandemic. We come out of the pandemic, revenge travel. Have we reached equilibrium in terms of a new normal? And if so, what are we seeing in terms of some of these more steadfast demand and trend elements to how people are traveling?
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about that 3 weeks ago when we did our earnings call. We talked about approaching more normalization is the word we used. There's still parts of the world, we are extremely global. So we talked about Asia up 15% year over year, and the effect was really coming out of still longer to get out of COVID. So we're getting a good comp there. Whereas in Europe and the rest of the world, not as fast, because Europe came out sooner. And the US, which was first out of pandemic, that was real normal, a lower growth rate there for the first quarter. So we are 2024, we're really talking normalization. What that means is travel generally goes a little bit better than GDP does. And we, being an online player, we have the advantage as people go more and more digital buying of travel, we get that tailwind. So we're looking good.
We've been talking a little bit about the prospective bifurcation of the consumer amid what's still a high inflation environment, or higher than it was a couple of years ago. It's meant some belt tightening and some different behaviors, particularly for the lower end or working class consumer, maybe not so much for deeper pocketed folks that are traveling. I wonder what you're seeing across your different brands and your different businesses right now.
Yeah, it's interesting because we mentioned this on the call. We talked about we had not seen any decrease in star ratings, average star ratings. People are going to go for a hotel. If you did see a step down in star rating, you'd say, okay, that's an impact of people not willing to spend up. Also, we didn't see any shortening in the length of stay. Also, that would be an indication, if we saw that people were tightening their belts, but we didn't see that either. And we look globally. Again, long-term travel's good. And I understand pandemic, and believe me, I've been here 24 years in this business now. And I know there are times things are going to go bad and such, but people should think the long term. I look back when I first started this company in 2000, our stock went down to an equivalent of $6 a share. So we're up over 600 times since then. That was very good for people who thought long term and stick with it and don't worry about the month by month variations.